Have you ever wondered how people get these cool designs on their Game Boy shells? Well, they use a UV printer. A UV printer sprays resin onto a variety of different materials and cures the resin with UV light. These are typically big, bulky, and expensive machines that aren't really tailored for the home. However, EufyMake made the E1 UV printer that is a lot smaller and a lot more reasonably priced. So now I can make my own cool designs for Game Boy shells and pretty much any other console I can fit on this bed. But was this machine worth the weight, cost, and maintenance? I pledged my support for this printer on Kickstarter back in May of 2025 with an estimated delivery date of July. Yeah, that obviously didn't happen. Even though they sent out printers to other YouTubers around the time I made my pledge, and they still took nearly $2,000 from me at the end of June while still projecting a July 2025 delivery, I finally got mine last month in March 2026. This apparently was the most backed Kickstarter ever, and it still had a huge delay. Even though that was incredibly frustrating, I was still incredibly excited to receive my first ever Kickstarter purchase. I pretty much spent the entire day setting up and testing this thing out. And while that sounds like a lot of work, it was actually pretty darn easy to set up. Of course, I chronicled all of this in a video on the second channel, Jake64, if you want the full setup and my first impressions. During the setup, EufyMake pushes you towards the mobile app for this thing, but I highly recommend using the desktop app if you can. I like using the mobile app for some of the startup things when I first turn it on, and I appreciate being notified when a print is done, but the phone app is very hard to use for actual printing. Trying to size and align anything with my fingers on a touchscreen is a nightmare. So I pretty much always use my mouse on desktop or on my laptop. Plus all the designs I make in Photoshop on the computer anyway. Like this Kintsugi GBA shell design I made almost a year ago, back when I still thought this was coming last summer. We'll talk about that design more later. EufyMake gives you 3 ceramic magnets to play around with, and my very first print was this default New York design. It turned out pretty cool, but was slightly off because again, it's hard to use the mobile app when every time you lift your finger, it moves. From there, I moved over to the desktop app that for some reason isn't fully up to date when you download it from their website. But once I had all of that set up, I messed around with this picture of my dog on a second magnet. One of the coolest things about this printer is you can add multiple layers of resin, kind of like a 3D printer, to add up to like 5 millimeters of depth to your prints. It's actually kind of nuts. And of course, since it's 2026, AI is all over the place. They gave me a free year of the paid subscription to start, and that gives me like 800 credits a month that I will never use up. So I tried using the AI to add some crazy texture to Nugget. And other than this corner of the chair and this armrest sticking out way too far, it was actually pretty cool. You can feel the weave of the chair and the metal bars behind her, plus her head and her hips stick out a bit compared to her torso. It's wild. You can, however, do a few other depth options that don't use credits. I designed this bleach anime shell for my friend Albert that does have a little bit of texture without any AI credits, and it turned out great. Same with my Kintsugi GBA shell. I messed around with a few different settings before deciding on this. As cool as the texture effects are, you can still print flat, no problem. But since Kintsugi art typically has raised edges where they mend the pottery, I thought this 0.3 millimeters of depth was perfect. If you don't know, Kintsugi is really old Japanese art where they would fix broken pottery by mending it with gold. It's really cool. I got this idea because I've cracked more GBA shells than I'd like to admit. I don't do it as often anymore, but the idea came to me after I broke a screw post around the time I paid for this printer. So I finally printed it on some IPS ready shells, and I'm gonna sell them on my website, retroremaster.com. They will come as a full shell kit with screws and the basic gray buttons and membranes. I wasn't planning on selling them with buttons, but they came with the shells I bought anyways, so I guess it's a little bonus. The shells I'm printing them on are pre-cut for the V5 IPS kits from High Speed Edo, but you can also fit the V2 kits in here as well. I thought it was perfect because those are the 2 GBA IPS kits I recommend anyways. And for those who would prefer a pre-modded Game Boy, I'll try to always have one up for sale like this one here. retroremaster.com. Going back to the depth options, you can also make your own custom depth maps to fine-tune your textures exactly how you want it, which is what I did for my other design, the PDX Carpet Boy. Longtime viewers know that I made this GBA for myself back in the very early Mod Monday days before it was a stream. And while this is obviously more of a niche Oregonian thing, I've gotten enough requests over the years to make this product, so here we are. You can now buy a GBA shell from me that has the thankfully copyright-free design of the PDX carpet on it, retroremaster.com. With that custom depth map, I made it so you can feel the squares and the rectangles with your thumb. Just like the Kintsugi GBA, the PDX Carpet GBA shell will come with all the usual shell pieces, plus basic gray buttons, and is pre-cut for the V5 IPS kit. And of course, I have a pre-modded one up for sale as well at retroremaster.com. If you couldn't tell, I've been putting this machine to work a lot, and it's honestly gone pretty smoothly. The only other thing I've tried printing on are these GameCube jewels. If you don't know, I sell modded GameCubes, and some of those new GameCube shells will come with jewels that are color matched to the shell instead of matching the original. I don't like how those look, so I typically buff the old ones to reuse in the new shells. So I thought, why not just print the GameCube logo over the top of these colored jewels? So I did. The first time I forgot to make it glossy, but it doesn't look half bad. And then I thought, why not just put other designs on the jewels like the special edition GameCubes did? So I made this perpendicular line design that has no cultural significance at all, and it looks freaking awesome. In all seriousness, I'd love to sell this too, but I'm gonna strive to stay as far away from copyrighted material as possible with the printed products I sell. This one is a bit in the gray area, so we'll see. But I'm down to sell a Pico Boot logo version if there's interest in that. But once I started thinking about all the different GameCube jewel designs I could do, I realized that I'll eventually run out of these. So I learned how to make 3D models and design my very own GameCube jewel from scratch. I had to do that because the GameCube jewel designs that I found online were copyright protected, so I couldn't sell them. And since I think it's stupid that people are putting copyright protections on a 3D model that's just a clone of something that's not even their original design, I'm making this model copyright free for you to do anything you want with. You can download the file from the link in the description, and it'll be in Bamboo Labs Maker World. And if that isn't worthy of you subscribing, I don't know what is. But if you're thinking that the texture of the 3D print is gonna show through on the UV print, it doesn't, as long as you have enough base layers. But even then, it really doesn't take much extra ink to fill in the grooves. And I don't even have to sand it first. Well, let's talk about ink for a second. While it's definitely not cheap, I've been printing a lot with this over the past month, and this is where my ink levels are. Other than my white and gloss levels, it's not half bad. I did buy a second set of ink cartridges with my initial pledge at the discounted rate to save some money, but unfortunately, I have to get through this ink kind of quickly. These all expire around the same time, the latest being in August of this year. I'm not very knowledgeable when it comes to the shelf life of resin, but that feels really short. I'm hoping it's because they were supposed to ship a year before they're set to expire, but who knows? If I have to use up each box of ink within 4 months of purchase, that would really suck. Maybe they've mentioned this somewhere, but I would like some clarification from someone at EufyMake or Anchor. Other than that, I honestly don't have many complaints about this thing. Some minor downsides are the smell and the other effects of working with resin. Otherwise, it's just figuring out the learning curves of using a UV printer. It'd be nice if there were more instructions and tutorials from EufyMake, but there are a ton of videos popping up from YouTubers like me who are probably going to be more helpful anyway. The two biggest lessons / mistakes that I've learned are make sure you aren't getting overspray on the bed, and make sure you mark the highest point manually when you do your snapshots. Firstly, overspray is very annoying to remove from the bed. I use a jig to not only hold my pieces flat and steady, but to also catch the overspray. I can always 3D print more jigs when the overspray builds up too much. Initially, I was using this hacked up GameCube lid as a jig to hold my jewels, until I designed my own jig that I will also leave as a download in the description. But with the initial jig, I built up a lot of overspray, and the UV printer marked the wall of overspray as the height of my print and resulted in this mess. So yeah, manually mark the high points, make sure you don't get overspray on the bed, and you should expect to cycle through jigs once there's a lot of overspray caked on them. While we're talking about this stuff, I should mention the maintenance. While I haven't really had to do much manual maintenance, you will have to eventually put some work into cleaning this thing on a regular basis. This video here does a great job going over what you'll need to do. I'll also link it down below. But so far, the auto maintenance has been great. Since I don't use this every day, I will turn it off when I'm not using it, but you should leave it plugged in. It still needs to do some stuff in the background to keep the machine fresh, and it does it around midnight, so it's usually not noticeable. Otherwise, if you keep it on 24/7, it'll be making a lot of noise, ensuring that it's ready to go at a moment's notice. This is genuinely one of the coolest tools I've ever purchased. This machine alone allows me to do so many cool projects. And when you combine it with 3D printing, the possibilities are endless. If you're one of my regular viewers, you know how negative my reviews can get, but I'm really struggling to find the negatives here. Yeah, the price is high, but comparing it to the competition, this is incredibly cheap. I should be clear though, this is not for everyone. This is for small businesses like me and extreme hobbyists like me. I really don't even care that it took this long to get here anymore. This thing rocks. But what does all this mean for me? Like I said, starting now, I'll be selling more Game Boy shells like my Kintsugi and PDX carpet designs on my website, retroremaster.com. And I will be expanding to more things like GameCube jewels and other Game Boy models in the future. Don't be expecting any Pokemon or any intellectual property that isn't mine, unless it's on something that I won't be selling. Because I also plan on printing stuff on my YouTube projects that I won't sell. Like, I could do an Ultimate PS2 that actually has Kratos on it, like this old thumbnail of mine. Because this printer also has a much larger bed that can fit pretty much any console I have. Again, the possibilities are endless. Also, yes, while I do have some fully modded consoles that I have sold and do still sell that have Pokemon on them, they aren't my designs. It probably doesn't make it all kosher, but I just bought shells that have those designs on them. And now that I have my own UV printer, I plan on phasing those shells out anyways. I am not trying to ruffle any Nintendo feathers here. Lastly, Black Ice and Black Ice Permafrost will stay a retro modding exclusive until they decide they no longer wish to stock it. Gary and the team at Retro Modding really elevated my original designs, and I love working with them, so I don't want to mess with any of that. But that being said, all of my new designs will be sold exclusively on my website, retroremaster.com, unless something goes horribly wrong. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about in this video. It's definitely a longer one for me. I have no idea what the reception in this video will be like, but I am so happy with this thing. I've launched at least 3 new products recently between these shell designs and my new button test cartridge, so please check out my website that is linked a million times below the like button. And if you like what I do here, please subscribe. But what do you think about this UV printer wizardry? Also, what else do you think I should do with this machine? Let me know in those comments down below. But that's about it for me. So like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, guys. It's kind of crazy how much I've accomplished purely out of spite. Both my foray into graphic design and 3D modeling are because of my anything you can do, I can do better attitude. Thanks, Annie.